Hey folks, this is BestInSlot and welcome to Update 6. This is the next big chunky update, and it is a chunky update. That's coming along with the Feathered Species pack when it releases tomorrow for Jurassic World Evolution 2. You don't need to buy that pack to get access to this update. It is free and it's coming to console and PC players tomorrow. There's a ton of stuff in this pack. It's one of the update, I should say. This is one of the biggest updates they've done, I think. So if you want to look for something in particular, if you're here for a particular reason, if you check the bottom of the video, you should see some sort of timestamps and you can jump to specific sections. Or if you want to chill with me for the whole thing, which I recommend, then you can do that as well. Right, let's get started. And since my Cracktinosaurus has approached the edge of the water, that is where we're going to start, because one part of the new update is that small animals. Now, these aren't your tiny animals, not your compies or your Morrisontrapidus. These are your small animals, your small Stegosaurus potentially, your small Ankylosaurus in particular. Dinosaurs that are small enough that they walk through the water, but when they do, it looks a little funky. They have a new behavior where when they're entering deep water, they'll lift their head above the ground. It is absolutely freaking adorable, so I'm going to show you that first. There's our Cracktinosaurus heading towards the water's edge, a little bit nervous. It's going to drown itself momentarily, just bear with me. Drowning. Any second now. There we go, just a little dip in the drink, and then, wait for it. Yeah, there we go. Isn't that absolutely adorable? I think that's super cute. It's like bobbing side to side slightly, walking along. Yeah, occasionally it dips under, yada yada, but it is trying to lift its head above the water so it can still breathe whilst it navigates through. Right, I will stare at that all day. So, probably the biggest part of Update 6, of course, is the new attractions. On one side, we've got the new log viewing gallery. There it is in all its glory. I'll show you how these attach in just a second, but as you can see, we've got sort of aircon units on one side, we've got sort of an emergency exit kind of staff section on the other side, we've got a triple section glass bit in the middle, we've got some concrete pillars sustained by these metal beams as well, and there's a nice shot of the whole thing if you're looking for that kind of thing, and then some rock and foliage around the bottom as well, some nice vines hanging off it as well. And if we go into view, we can see here we've got one view over here, and then if you toggle it, it flips over. I just wanted to look at the Cracktinosaurus. If you toggle it, it flips over to the other side, both laterally and longitudinally. I don't know, it flips it both on the horizontal and the vertical. And we've got these little info panels down here. They're absolutely filthy for some reason, and they've all been redacted. It's like an FBI document. But it's a pretty cool view inside. So you've got the two views, and that's everything you can see. So the viewing gallery, really nice. The other new attraction then is the dome viewing gallery, which again looks really good. It's got this nice mix of materials, because both of these, both the dome and the log, are both era non-reliant. They both look identical regardless of the era. There is a little change we'll see in a second, but these two buildings will stay the same regardless of what era you're using them in. And you can see with the dome in particular, we've got like this darker wood here that's a little bit reminiscent of Jurassic Park. We've got all the glass from Jurassic World, this kind of heavier metal, maybe a little bit more DFW. It's a nice mix of everything, and I think that's probably been a fairly conscientious choice on their part. And when we go inside, we should have 4 different viewpoints. So you can see some foliage there. Of course, pterosaurs will land on the railing. I'll show you that in just a second. We've got a nice big wide view from 4 different viewpoints. And then you can even see our log over there. And it hasn't happened this time, but I recorded this a minute ago and I got a really weird bug. I'm going to show you that. I'll show you a quick clip of that now. And of course, let's check out the view. Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on there. Ignore that one. But yeah, there's your dome viewing gallery. I'll very quickly show you the aviary iteration. There we go. So, as I say, in the viewing gallery, in the dome one, the pterosaurs will land on the edge. They don't do anything particularly special. They'll kind of do a little call and kind of click their beaks around a little bit. Oh, they get a little angry at you occasionally. Kind of poke their head right through the whole thing. But in terms of a guest view, it is the best guest view you ever get for your pterosaurs. I mean, look how close we can get to its face. You know, you got they'll land on the other viewing galleries as well, but you know that's kind of above you. This is a really good way to get up and close with your pterosaurs. So it's a really nice addition, and of course it means as well you can have, as mine is, it kind of unattached. I can get rid of that aviary hatchery now, and this would be completely on its own, and yet it would still function as an aviary for the park because of the remote viewing gallery. That's why they're so useful. Right, quick little point on this. When you build, I'll show you the new menu for this. If we go into attractions, we try to place a dome viewing gallery, you see we've got this new menu here. You've got your dome, you've got your log, you've got the tunnel system. So if we place a dome, you then get these buildings. These are the remote viewing entrances, and we've got 3 different ones. So you can see you've got a Jurassic World one, a DFW one. You can put these on fences as well, or just out there in the open. And you've got a Jurassic Park one. I'll just show you these very quickly over here. There you go, in a little bit more detail. There's your Jurassic World, DFW, and Jurassic Park entrances. So if you're on mixed era, if you're on modern consoles or PCs, you can use all of these in your park and have like themed sections. And if you're on a specific era, then you would be forced into one of these specific buildings, with the DFW one, I believe, being used for the Biosyn variant. So that's it for those 2 new attractions. Really both fantastic additions to the game, just something I've wanted for so long. Really happy to have those in, but that's not all we've got in terms of attractions, because of course we have new coatings for our ziplines. You now have a Jurassic Park era zipline there. Again, all that dark panelled wood, a little bit more angular, really fits the theme. And we also have over here the new DFW zipline. As they said on the stream, and as I've said in the past, why the DFW would have a zipline is beyond me. But that's neither here nor there. It's cool that it's an option. So it's got that white, almost plasticky coating. It's got this sort of supportive steel beams. It looks just a little bit more utilitarian than the Jurassic Park version. And the really cool thing is, as you can see here, you can connect them across eras. I love the idea of having like themed parts of a park, and the zipline would connect them and change. It would show the change itself from one zipline to the other. It's really cool that you can connect those together despite the eras. I didn't think that was going to be possible, so that's a really awesome little addition, actually. Something we picked up whilst watching Frontier stream is a new random rock option. So for all your different rock types, you now have a 6th button, and it'll take a random rotation as long as you've got that on, and it'll take a random size rock, and it'll just sort of plonk them down. As you can see, it changes every single time. So if you wanted to decorate an area nice and quickly, this would be by far now the best way to do so. Yeah, you lose a little bit of control, but randomization is good. It makes things feel more natural. And yeah, really nice little option for those of you who want to decorate a habitat a little bit quicker. Look how quickly we can just chuck down tons of random rocks instead of clicking each one individually or having to use our brains. We're not interested in that nonsense, okay? Speaking of environment, we do now have mixed foliage as well. Now, this is only available on PC or on the PS5 or Xbox series of consoles. Xbox One and PS4 are out of luck in this one. And if you go into decorations, this is a sandbox option that you can turn on or off, depending. I'll show you that in a little bit. But if you go into decorations, we go into our trees. You can see here we're in the Alpine because that's the one for this environment. But if we scroll down, we've got access to the desert. We've got access to the Mediterranean. We've got the tiger there. We've got temperate. We've got temperate autumn. And we've also got tropical. So you've got the whole suite of trees. Now, this is only for the placeable decoration trees. It's not for the brush itself. And of course, we still don't have the terrain options. But this is, this is really nice. I've been using these in little sections. And again, if you want to build themed biome kind of parts for your park, if you want to mix up how your exhibits look, this is going to be a really good way of doing so. And definitely something I'm excited about, and I know this is something a lot of us have been asking for a long time. And it's it's a fantastic addition again. However, ladies and gentlemen, all those additions pale, I tell you, in comparison to the return, finally, of my beloved. The slow motion camera has been added to the game. So I'm going to click my Pteranodon over here, who's currently starving to death. I should probably turn off dinosaur food needs, I thought I had. And here we have a slow motion button down here at the bottom, just next to our play button. And if we click that, and you can do it now. It used to be in Jurassic World Evolution 1, where this was present. It was a capture mode only option. Very cool. Now it's available all the time, or indeed you could go into capture mode if you wanted and activate it then as well. If one of you wants to start flying so I can actually show they're all sitting down. There we go. There you go. Look at that. Oh, it looks so good for screenshot taking, for highlighting animations. I'm sure you've already seen this in use quite a lot today on my species highlights, for catching like kill animations and stuff like that. Slow motion mode is an absolute winner. So I'm super excited to have this back. As a YouTuber, I do find it immensely helpful, but I just think it's just cool in general for dramatic things. But that's not the only change to the camera system. We also have the new cinematic camera. So if I hit C and we change from camera type manual to camera type cinematic, you see it's now going to start flipping between things. So we can change the timer settings. So you can actually change, never, basically, just sit on this one thing forever if you wanted to like hone in on one specific thing and stay there for the entire time. Or you can set it to short, which is 6-7 seconds. I think it goes up in 7 each time, maybe it's 5. Medium, camera movement, so you can still control the camera like so, but it will hop between things. And you can include all these different stuff. So, scenes included, all, none, or custom. This is our hotel view here. Dinosaurs, viewing galleries, tours and transport, park teams, hotels, ranger posts, zip lines, feeders, path view, and panoramic view. So all these different things. There's our log thingamajiggy there. You can add your filters and stuff over the top, your stamps and all that kind of jazz. It's a very, very customizable kind of thing. Again, I really like the idea of building a really nice park and then maybe running this as like a screensaver kind of thing that you could just stick on YouTube, you could just stream it, or maybe making like a site B and just kind of watch it come to life. I think that'd be really fun. The one I am super curious about is super curious about is the path view and the panorama. Those are the two that I didn't quite know what they were going to be. So we're going to turn off everything other than path and panoramic. Of course, you can hide the UI as well to get a nicer view like so. So there's path view. It is just following the path along up to my zip line, seemingly. And there's panorama view, which would be better if I had a full park, yes, but there's a panoramic view of your entire park. I think it's probably picking the exact middle of the map and rotating from that point. Right, we're nearly done with this section, I promise, but there's still a few more things I need to show you. So let's say I want to build 7 innovation centers, because I'm still trying to do that bug from absolutely ages ago. If I click and place down an innovation center, I'm done. I have to now load back into the menu, into attractions. I have to scroll back down again because I've misclicked, and then I have to click it again. And that is going to take a little bit of time, especially when you're maybe adding restrooms or viewing galleries, or whatever it is you're doing. However, I don't know what it is on on controllers, I believe you press in R3, which is your right analog stick. But on PC, you hold control. Look at these little pointy hats. And as I click control, boop, boop, boop. There you go. Instantly places your innovation centers. It lets you place as many of them as you want. So if you want to create something truly stupid like this, you now have that option. There you go. Just a nice little quality of life change there. I'm going to leave those there because I think they look amazing. Of course, in very exciting news, we also have a new feeder type. If we nip into here, we have a brand new Insectivore Feeder. Now, inside here, we've got this little grate sort of section here, and inside there's a bunch of rotting fruit. Basically, that's what the insects themselves are feeding on, keeping the insects around so that your pterosaurs can then feed on them instead. The insects themselves, if we pause it, they're not locusts, which would have been really funny, but they are these weird little glimmering moth-type creatures. It almost feels like, because you can see they're a little translucent, a little bit shiny. It feels a little bit like they've been bioengineered, basically, to glimmer, to kind of attract your pterosaurs. If you watch this from a distance, as you can see, they are quite visible. Now, of course, that means we as players can see them as well, which is sort of important. But, yeah, a bunch of glimmering moths. Some of them sit down there at the bottom. You can see them flapping their wings in this kind of stuttering little animation. They look a lot better when they actually fly than when they sit there. My main problem with the Insectivore Feeder, however, is this right here, in that, despite it being, as far as I know, at least part of the free update, it doesn't apply to any creatures currently in the game. So if you've got the free update, you're going to get this Insectivore Feeder and not be able to use it. Now, there may be some other creatures out there it does apply to, but I went through the dinosaur genome library kind of thing, and not a single creature other than Jeholopterus is listed as feeding from the Insectivore Feeder. Even Dimorphodon, which when announced we thought it might bring with it an Insectivore Feeder because it's listed as an insectivore on their like initial press release, does not feed from the Insectivore Feeder. You can see there's one right there. And these Dimorphodon are starving to death. They are not eating from the... That's not the Dimorphodon. These Dimorphodon are starving to death rather than feeding from the feeder. So I don't really know why this has been done like this. I'm really hoping this is something that gets changed relatively quickly. At the very least, Dimorphodon should use it. Some of the other pterosaurs should use it. Preferably, there's a few dinosaurs out there as well that should use it. I get that that's work, because that means a new animation and stuff like that for things like your ornithomimids. But it seems a bit silly to have a feeder that only one creature in the entire game can currently use. So I'm really hoping that's something that gets changed relatively quickly, because I'm a little surprised by that. Like I thought it would release with a few more creatures than that at the very least. But yeah, they just don't seem interested, unfortunately. Okay, the last thing we're going to check out is the new Sauropod combat. So I've got a pack of Velociraptors here hunting down this Brachiosaurus, as you can see, in our lovely new slow motion mode. So you really get all that lovely... I mean, it is such a cool mode. So there's two changes here. The first is that the Brachiosaurus should only lose health in chunks rather than continuously as it happens. You can see there it's more staccato in how it's losing its HP. There's also now an increased chance for the hunt to fail. It doesn't look like this one is going to fail, but that is the other major change. It's basically that the health will... Oh, there we go, maybe it's okay. Escaped Predator, there you go. At the very top there, the Brachiosaurus has survived. A little bit of health left, but the Velociraptors assumedly sort of... well, maybe they spotted the Diplodocus and thought that would be an easier target, basically. Brachio's going to have a little bit of a rest. But there we saw Brachiosaurus survived, and it isn't bleeding out, I don't believe. Let's have a look at its health, see if that changes. It needs food, so it's probably going to starve to death anyway. Yeah. There you go, see, Diplodocus did a good job there. So all these raptors here, they've... What? Diplodocus killed 4 of them. What? I wasn't looking. Oh god. Sorry, Brachio, you're gonna die. But the Diplodocus smashed them. Maybe because they were lower health, low stamina from trying to fight the Brachiosaurus. They come over to Diplodocus, and Diplodocus fends them off. Usually I think 6 raptors would probably do well against a Diplodocus, but, you know, the point is that the sauropods have been made a lot tougher. It should be much more difficult now for your dinosaurs to take them down. Your Rexes and your larger predators will probably have an easier time of it over time, but your smaller dinosaurs now are more susceptible to death themselves, to being tired out, to not completing the hunt. We had 6 Velociraptors there, and they didn't take down either of the sauropods, and 4 of them died in the process. So they've clearly tweaked the numbers a little bit, at least, when it comes to sauropod combat. Now, just 2 things left to show you. One of them, of course, a big deal. So we got a new square level section. As you can see here, these are just sandbox 1 out of 1 square levels. So you're going to click that. And then you get this new option here in your preset. So biome tropical, Isla Nublar, biome alpine, California, biome desert, temperate autumn, temperate taiga, Canada, alpine biosin sanctuary, taiga, Sierra Nevada, and Mediterranean. So some of them are listed as places, some of them aren't, but we've got 9 different square maps, a huge host covering all the different biomes you could possibly want, so you can just pick whichever one you want. I'm going to show you all of those in just a second, but before we do that, we do have some other new settings as well. The first one is over here, unlimited feeder reserves. Setting this on means that feeders no longer need to be refilled by ranger teams, which means now you can run a park in Sandbox and not need a ranger team at all, basically. You could do that in the past and have your dinosaurs not starve, but now you can feed your dinosaurs and see those animations without ever needing a ranger team to go and resupply, so that's really cool. In park, we have a new income tax level, so if you wanted to, it reduces how much income your park generates. At higher income, a larger proportion of income is taxed. So you've got low, medium, and high there. So you just determine how, if you want your sandbox to be more like a challenge mode sort of thing, but with your own specific settings, now you can do that via income tax. There's also the new wild capture frequency. So you have to turn expeditions and fossils on for this, and then you've got wild capture frequency, and again, it's low, medium, and high. And this is those warnings you get. You've seen them in the campaign, probably more than Sandbox. It'll be like 27 baryonyx discovered in the bathroom of Paul, and Paul's like, well, he doesn't want 27 baryonyx in his bathroom. Can you take them off my hands? And you go and you take those 27 baryonyx and you put them into your park. Again, I really like the idea of building a park that is just rescued wild dinosaurs. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. And the final new sandbox option is this right here, decoration foliage. You saw earlier in the video, you saw earlier in the video, we could place down all those different trees. That's because we had all biomes selected. But if you wanted to, you could limit yourself to just the current biome, so you can choose between the two. I don't really see the point in limiting yourself. You could choose to do that anyway, just by not using the other ones. So you may as well just stick with all biomes, but who knows. The last thing I'm going to do is show you all 9 maps. I'm just going to do like a panoramic sweep. It's going to be 5 seconds-ish, but there's 9 maps. You know, I don't want to spend ages doing it. But I'll show you a quick little glimpse of every single new square map. Starting with Biome Tropical, Isla Nublar. I believe these maps are all the same size. We'll verify that as we go through, but hopefully you can see sort of the edge of the map. It's obviously sort of in this area over here. And there you go, that is the size of the map. This first one I'll talk a little bit more and showcase a little bit more. If we hop into map screen there, you can see, so yeah, this is the first boundary. Let's stick down a building so we know where we are. There we go. And let's go to the far corner, which is down here. Stick down another tower. And yeah, so hopefully that shows just how huge these maps are. So we're here in capture mode, we're at 1 tower, and the other tower is there. So that's fully zoomed in as well. So it's quite a distance. These are definitely huge areas. I think these must be, someone out there will do the exact calculations, but I think they must be the largest buildable area in the game now, and I'd be surprised if it wasn't by a little bit of distance as well. Like, if they're quite far ahead of all the others, it's a huge area, it really is. And the fact that we got all of these for all the different biomes is really exciting. So I'm going to showcase all of those to you right now. So this is the Yosemite Park one, and I think I was wrong. I think this is actually, I don't want to say it for sure, but this one feels potentially a little smaller to me, actually. This does not feel like the same size as this is, I think, it's quite safe to say, actually, probably smaller than the Isla Nublar tropical one. So they are different sizes. There is a little variety in that regard. But again, the point is really get this big, nice flat square, and then you get these beautiful backdrops in the distance. So this is your Yosemite Mountains one. Look at that. What a beauty. This one is Biome Desert, and it is, as you can see, the San Diego map. So you've got San Diego itself over there in the distance. I don't know why some of them are called the place names and some of them aren't. There doesn't actually seem to be any rhyme or reason between that, but there you go. This one feels, again, larger than Yosemite, but maybe not quite Isla Nublar size. I don't know if I'm just in my head about that and making it up, but there you go. There's your big old flat desert space ready to be built in, surrounded by some rolling hills, surrounded by the coast, and surrounded by San Diego itself. There's an overview of the map size as well. I'll make sure I do that every time. Next up for our temperate autumn map, we have Germany. We've got these white cliffs. We've got all those red trees. There used to be like a little coastline area you could build down here, but obviously that's been removed now. And instead, again, we have this sort of flatter area, which you would expect. And so, yeah, I'm pretty confident in saying that size-wise, this is the same size as Yosemite, and that it's smaller than the other two. So they're definitely not all identical. And I guess they just found a sort of a natural point where it kind of went into the landscape and still looked good, and that's how they determined it. Or maybe some people want to build on smaller ones, some people want to build on bigger ones. Because until you fill your whole park, it can look a little finicky with these square maps, you know, because you've got all that empty space behind your park. It looks a bit weird, so there is benefit to playing on a smaller map. And this one, again, will take you right down to the edge there. You can build right by the cliff face, which is going to be pretty sweet. So this is your standard temperate map, and it is once again Germany. I clicked a little bit in my head that Germany usually is not that autumnal one. It's usually Pennsylvania. So I'm curious as to why that's happened. So basically our 2 temperate maps are both Germany. One of them's autumnal, one of them's not. Size-wise, the maps appear to be exactly the same. They seem to be the same map. It's just the tree type has changed. But of course, we have an autumnal map in the game already in Pennsylvania. So I'm wondering why the square map wasn't simply added to Pennsylvania instead. Maybe they found that the airport and all that kind of stuff kind of got in the way a little bit too much. Maybe this was just easier. But that's interesting at least. So you can actually, theoretically, you're kind of playing on a whole new map if you use the autumnal Germany, because that's not something we've had access to before. 4 to go, folks. This time we are in Canada with our tiger map, surrounded by the water, these beautiful islands, and of course those gigantic mountains as well. God bless Canada. Looks really nice. And if we hop into the map view, you can see this is a decent sized one. It's not the small. Oh, no, it is. I could be entirely off base, but that's how it feels just from a rudimentary sort of spinning around with my camera. But a really nice area, and again, you can build a decent sized map in these areas. It's not like the maps are tiny or anything. There's definitely still giving you tons of buildable space. That goes right up to there, right? Oh, no. All the way up to the edge of the water there. Very cool. And, yeah, so, I mean, it's still quite a distance to be, to say the very least. Next up, we have Biosyn Sanctuary, probably the one that took the most work, because as you can see, the river and the building and that whole sort of section has now been removed. We don't have that anymore. In terms of the environment, it's perfectly nice. Mountains and trees and regular Biosyn Sanctuary stuff. But of course, the benefit of Biosyn Sanctuary is what it always is that you get that rolling mist moving through your forests. And that's why I always build. Until they add another map with mist in it, I'm always going to build on Biosyn Sanctuary, quite frankly, because it just makes me so happy. And this one looks to be a little bit bigger. Again, probably not Isla Nublar size. If I had to guess, it's probably in that second tier of sizes. Not the smaller one like the one we just saw. Not quite Isla Nublar size. I think in that sort of mid-tier between the two. But definitely a decent size. And I can kind of see why it couldn't go bigger. You can maybe get a little bit in here, but I imagine there's like a set size. And when you hit that, it probably hits the mountains a little bit too much. But definitely a decent sized map. Lots of building space to play with. Our other and very different feeling tiger map is Sierra. Look at that sky. Oof. Is Sierra Nevada up here in the snowy mountains, absolutely quilted in snow. And again, this is one that's changed a lot. If you think about Sierra Nevada in its default form, it's kind of like this 3-layered staggered mountain climb kind of thing. So this really is like building on a whole. No, not Sierra Nevada. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of something else. Sierra Nevada is the one, of course, from the Dominion campaign. Size-wise, let's take a little look here. Start in this corner, move along. Again, I think this is that second tier. Maybe I'm overrating how big Nublar is, but definitely, again, one of the bigger ones, not the smaller one like take Germany. Good size map, lots of snowy building space. Build a snowman. And watch it melt. And our final map is in the Mediterranean. We've got these Maltese ones. You've got the buildings in the distance, the city on the hill there looking very, very cool. A little bit of San Diego in the middle. And right there as well, super close by the park, it must be said, with this new sort of, the edge takes you up to, there? Yeah, so pretty close to where you'll be. You'll definitely be able to see that in the background of some of your dino exhibits. There's no way for me to test this myself, but I'm assuming that this and the Biosyn Valley maps will obviously not be available to you if you haven't bought the respective relevant DLCs. But yeah, actually quite a big one, the Mediterranean one. Again, not the smaller size. This is one of the larger size ones. Lots of big space, lots of hazy stuff in the distance. Very sort of the heat kind of blocking your view kind of thing. Looks nice. And I've prattled on about maps for far too long. So that is it from me, ladies and gentlemen. A huge update. This has taken nearly an hour to record. A huge update, to say the very least. It's a lot of really good stuff. Definitely one of my favorites. A couple of minor niggles, but really mainly only with the Insectivore Feeder. Other than that, I'm pretty bloody happy. I think it's a really good update. That small animals lifting their heads above water, that might be my favourite thing in the entire update, other than, of course, a return of my beloved slow motion mode. Let me know what you think about Update 6 in the comment section down below. How excited are you for this free update? Is it going to bring you back into Jurassic World Evolution 2? And what aspect of Update 6 do you personally find most exciting? That should be it from me today, unless something else pops up, so I really hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Really excited for you all to get hold of the update and the DLC tomorrow and see all your lovely parks and builds, and I'm sure we'll discover some new animations and stuff along the way. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye.
Reaching out.